Wrestling Inc. podcast fans. This is the Blueprint Matt Morgan, and I'm here with the one, the only owner and proprietor, as it were. Shout out to you, Glenn. Mr. Raj Giri. What's going on, Raj?
I'm doing good. This is the first time we have ever done you doing the play by play, as it were.
Yes, yes. We're gonna give it a go here. Hope for the best here, folks. Why I make Glenn's work look easy? No, I'm just joking. All right. So listen, tonight was a good show overall. It was an interesting show. Definitely a show you want to go back and watch if you did miss this one, just because a lot of moving parts to it, and we'll get into it right away. Feel free to follow along as well on the WrestlingInc.com's coverage of it. But I want to give a shout out to Mr. Mark Middleton for always covering this for us and for you fans as well. Good job, Mr. Middleton. And it is with that tonight we joined the 2020 WWE Draft edition of SmackDown on Fox, opening live right here in Central Florida at WWE's new Thunderdome at the Amway Center. As dorky as hell, Michael Cole welcomes us. He's joined at ringside here by Corey Graves as fans cheer them on. All right, so listen, the big part and the takeaway from the beginning of the opening, obviously, is that they list a list of specific superstars that are in the pool for tonight and that are eligible. All right. So we go right to the ring. Greg Hamilton introduces WWE Chief Brand Officer Stephanie McMahon, who's going to be presiding over the draft this year. Stephanie comes out to a blue and red podium on the stage, welcomes us to the 2020 draft. All right. She goes right into the first pick immediately, and Raw selects WWE Champion Drew McIntyre to stay on that brand. SmackDown then selects WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns to stay on that brand as well. Raw is the next selection, and they pick up to stay on the show the Women's Champion Asuka. So Asuka will be staying on Raw. SmackDown, now this one was interesting. SmackDown then selects Seth Rollins, who's coming over from Raw. I think that will help him, by the way.
So they selected Seth Rollins over Bailey. So Raw picks their women's champion.
Yes, that's a good point. But I honestly, we know how they envision Seth. He's not Roman, but he's right behind him, I would argue, on their list of the most important talents to their show. And I don't think he should have been picked in front of her, but I am happy he, in general, is going to a different show because he needs to drop this crap.
For sure. I mean, they've been doing Rollins and Company versus Mysterio and Company for 30 weeks or whatever. I do think they should just say, if you're a champion on a brand, you stay, you're not a part of the draft.
And it wasn't exciting. By no offense to them, to these talents, but like having Drew stay on Raw, Roman stay on SmackDown, it's like, that's a waste of a pick. I don't care.
Yeah,
just tell us, yeah.
Yeah, they're not allowed.
Yeah. Just that they have to stay on the brand, and it would make total sense too, just to say that. Listen, guys, the last pick of the first round ended up being the Hurt Business staying on Raw. That's what I'm saying. It's not exciting. MVP Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, and United States Champion Bobby Lashley. Okay. We go to backstage with Seth Rollins, who's joined by Kayla Braxton. Basically cuts a very promo about being thrilled going somewhere new, and it's exciting. He's a little bit heartbroken and upset he won't be able to be on Raw to see the Mysterio family implode, but lucky for him, he won't have to see their disgusting faces anymore. Rollins did say, though, the greater good is moving to Friday nights. I am hoping that is not a tip of the cap that he's going to continue this crap. I'm hoping the move to Raw, he drops this stupid gimmick.
I mean, the Monday Night Messiah no longer makes sense if he's not on Monday night.
Ooh.
So hopefully they just drop it all together.
Yeah. No, good call.
And I gotta say, I mean, this is one of those cases where the babyfaces never got any kind of retribution against Rollins. He took out Mysterio's eye. He beat the crap out of his son, and he never got beat. Murphy did.
He took his eyeball out of sockets in front of his family.
Yeah.
And then the family got more involved, and he kept big dogging them. They never got retribution. I'll argue worse. Poor Rey Mysterio had to watch his daughter fall in love with another wrestler on top of it.
They've turned his daughter. I mean, it was like every possible thing that could go. They beat the shit out of Dominic with the kendo stick. The daughter now has a crush on the disciple. I mean, good God.
Not good.
Justin Lopez with the 4.99 super chat saying Drew McIntyre has been drafted to Raw. He's already there. Takes the excitement out of it. This is why
It
I stayed
does.
watching the Yankees tonight.
Okay.
This is one of those things. Remember the draft shows back when they had like Paul Heyman and Eric
Bischoff.
Bischoff, and
Yeah.
it meant something. You just felt like they're
Yeah.
really trying to one up each other. And now just Stephanie McMahon reading off these names,
Yeah.
the drama is just gone.
It is, and I'll tell you guys a quick story. I remember one year, is we're coming up close to WrestleMania 20 at the time at MSG, and on the day at WrestleMania, I remember sitting next to Jim Ross and catering and watching him make a list of heels and baby faces with a line down the middle, and trying to even out the rosters. Like if he put a heel on this show, he had to put a heel on the other one, and so on and so forth. And they're very like good about that, but like I don't get why waste the picks on people that are staying on the show. That's not exciting. You want the
That's
draft
not
to
a
be
pick.
exciting.
Right.
Nor is it a pick. Yeah, they're already there.
Right.
Raw didn't get anything.
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
and if you can pick, the first person that Raw's going to pick is Roman. The first person SmackDown's going to pick is Drew. So
Dude.
just keep the champions out of it. You know, I know the heel GMs got old quick, but if you could do it where you did have people in charge of the show, at least that's built-in storyline with trying to get talent from the other show
And
just,
also matchmaking purposes.
yeah, absolutely.
Hey, real quick, do I have any other super chats before I move on?
That was the only one so far.
Okay, so try to keep up, folks, when you do super chats if you can with the matches. I know it's impossible sometimes, but try if you could as we move along here on the show. So next up, we start the first match, I should say, is Falls Count Anywhere match between Big E versus Sheamus. So here we go. The bell rings, and they basically go after it. Sheamus levels Big E with a shoulder for a 2 count. Sheamus with a rolling senton for another pin attempt. Sheamus charges, but Big E nails a Uranagi out of the corner. Big E then hits a big spear to knock Sheamus from the apron to the floor. This is super physical, this match. There's a lot of back and forth. But Big E pulls out a kendo stick from under the ring, but Sheamus was able to nail him with the big kick for a 2 count on the floor. They continue brawling. Like I said, they were laying serious lumber into one another. I could tell these guys talked before the match and saying, we've got to be stiff with one another. And when you do that, it makes a hard-hitting match like this was even cooler. Sheamus grabbed a kendo stick and unloads on Big E while Big E was trapped in the ropes. The faux fans were booing. Sheamus with more kendo stick shots. All right, so Big E eventually gets it back, unloads kendo stick shots now on Sheamus. He hobbles him. Big E sends Sheamus over the barrier with a kendo stick shot as we go to commercial. Back from commercial break, Big E is beating Sheamus with a kendo stick once again and into the backstage area. Sheamus is his body is so what's the word? Is it translucent? What would you call his paleness? He's so damn white
albino-ish, I don't know.
Yeah, that when he gets hit or even chopped, it shows up and it looks awesome for his opponent. It makes his opponent's stuff look way better because you can see all the handprints or the marks from the kendo stick. Anyways, Sheamus goes to swing a monitor at Big E and beats him down with a broomstick. Big E grabs the trash can and hits Sheamus with it several times while he's down. Again, these two just continue to lay into each other until he puts Big E into the windshield, completely shattering the car's windshield. Again, these two are just destroying each other. This is really, really good match for Big E, in my opinion. Anyways, long story short, Big E climbs on top of the hood with Sheamus now. Big E delivers the big ending from the hood of the car through a table, landing on the concrete. He covers Sheamus for the win. I thought this was a big win for Big E. What'd you think of the match?
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it was the right ending. I think Big E, I would have liked to seen this on a pay-per-view. It just always feels bigger doing a match on a pay-per-view. Even though more people see it on TV, people remember a match at a WrestleMania, not on Raw the next night. But still, I think Big E, I don't like that the New Day are staying together, right? Unless I missed something.
No, they got drafted together. Xavier Woods and what's his name? Um, yeah, Big
Yeah,
E. But Big E as well. Same
right.
thing. He got drafted to SmackDown as well as an individual talent too.
Now I'm forgetting
Or was it Raw?
because
Maybe.
they divided up the names that could be drafted tonight and Monday. So I can't remember if Kofi is one of the names that can.
Kofi, definitely. It was Kofi and Xavier Woods were a team when they got drafted tonight.
Okay, so maybe Big E can be drafted on Monday. I'll need
He
to double
no,
check that.
he was already drafted too. He
Can
was
they
the
be
next.
drafted back?
He was the next pick,
Because yeah, well, I'd
which
like to
which
see the
I
New
think
Day
looks,
split up.
which I think looks phony as hell when you
Yeah.
do that. You put they're a 3-man triad essentially, and we're just supposed to believe that just by happenstance that the two of them got drafted, and then the very next draft pick was him.
All right.
No, come on.
Well, I mean, there's so many things with this draft that don't make sense. Why did Dana Brooke be
Mm-hmm.
moved to Raw last week when we had the draft this week? Why did Mandy Rose be drafted a few weeks? I mean, not
Yeah,
drafted, but moved a few weeks ago
moved.
when she didn't wrestle till last week.
I agree.
It just storyline wise, it's like, man,
No,
WWE,
you're
get
right.
your shit in a pile. What there are so many holes in the
Yeah.
story that it's tough to get into. Mike Gorman with the 4.99 super chat saying, "Props, Matt Morgan. I'm enjoying you taking the reins as more of a host on the podcast tonight. You're doing great."
Thanks, Mike. Thank you. I think I'm sucking, but thank you. I was gonna say, up
No, you're doing
next.
great.
Thanks, brother. Next up, we have we go to the back. We go back out to the ring, and out comes Jay Uso. Real quick, what do you think of Jay Uso's hair before we move on? I don't
It's
like his haircut. I know that's a very odd thing to say.
kind of like a bowl cut, like the Jim Carrey Dumb and Dumber, but with gel.
There's something about him that makes him look like a kid. Even with the gray in the beard,
Yeah.
I still feel like him as a kid out there with that kind of haircut. I don't know why. I don't have an answer for you,
All right.
but I don't know. It's weird.
Real quick,
Yeah,
the Jarvis show saying, "Matt, are you doing the Blue Chew ad too? We
I
got to
am.
do that next time."
Yeah.
And Nate Monroe with a $1.99 super chat saying, "Why split the new tag champs and a rising star?"
Mm-hmm. Which tag teams is he referring to?
Yeah, which tag champs?
Yeah, let us know what you mean.
Did Cesaro and Nakamura get split up?
Oh,
But they're not new. Street Profits aren't new, so
women's tag team got drafted together.
yeah, they got drafted together.
All right, so listen. Anyways, we go back to the ring. Jey Uso
All right.
is
So they did break the New Day up. Big E stays, Woods and Kofi to Raw. What?
no.
All
I
right.
saw the ticker at the bottom of the screen right before we started the show on SmackDown before they went off the air, and the ticker I'm almost positive said Xavier and Kofi SmackDown and or
Oh,
Raw,
yeah, no. That is right. Raw picked up Kofi and Xavier,
and Big
and
E was next pick to who?
SmackDown is on SmackDown. I mean, Big E is on SmackDown, and
Okay,
Otis. So yeah, they did split up the New
good.
Day.
My apologies. So that was good then. I take that back. Because I was
Now,
like, why
people
would
can
they put
tell
them on
I
the same
wasn't
show?
watching all of SmackDown. I was kind of in and out, but
No, but you got to watch the bottom of the ticker of the screen in order to remember any of this crap.
yeah.
Um,
Dustin Eck is saying the big guy Ryback is now a Twitch streamer. Yesterday he played COD. You guys should hop on the Twitch, train to play games like MK, COD, Fall Guys, Resident Evil, Tony Hawk, Red Dead, Among Us, etc.
huh.
Rambo is now in Mortal Kombat, right? Or he's in one of those games. So,
Oh, I didn't know that.
all right. Well,
All right, we'll take it into consideration, Dustin. All right, let me move on here. We go back. Like I said, we go back to the ring. Jey Uso's out there. We basically see the recent happenings between Jey and WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns. The announcers hype Uso versus Reigns at WWE Hell in a Cell, which will take place inside, obviously, a cell. All right, so we go to commercial break, and Uso is waiting as his music continues to play. Cole sends us backstage to Kayla Braxton and Big E. A security guard walks over, but it's Kofi Kingston in disguise. But of course it is. Another guard comes over, and it's Xavier Woods. The New Day is back together, baby, and better than before. And they celebrate the reunion. Kofi Woods points how something is missing: the World Tag Team titles. Wood says he's not trying to one up Big E, but he and Kofi are back to capture the gold. They get Big E to do his signature intro for the group, and they continue their celebration to end the segment. We go back to poor Uso, who's just chilling, hanging out in the ring. Uso finally takes the mic and asks his cousin what the stipulation for Hell in a Cell is going to be, that he teased before. Jay says he gets it. Reigns isn't going to come out here if not on his own terms, right? So Uso goes on, but Paul Heyman appears on the big screen. He asks Jay to stop embarrassing himself and their whole family by trying to dictate the time and place of the next appearance of the WWE Universal Champion. That it is at a time and leisure of the champion. Heyman has words for those who become too ambitious and shows us what happens when you try to come up. He sends us to a video package that shows Reigns dominating Uso at Clash of Champions. We come back to Heyman, who now sees Reigns sitting at a table with his title belt. Reigns recalls how his dad, Jey Uso's uncle, used to say, believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see in this business. We all tell each other that, by the way. He says, but what we just saw in the video, you can believe that, playa. The crowd.
Real quick. Let's take a quick pause to get some of these super chats. Mike Gorman with the $4.99 super chat saying, do y'all think moving SmackDown Tag Champs to Raw is hopefully going to end up in them unifying the tag belts from both brands? Wishful thinking.
That has been my hope for the last 5 years to be watching the show.
No, they're moving the Street. Bianca Belair moved to SmackDown tonight. They keep the couples together. Street Profits are definitely moving. Justin Lopez saying New Day won the SmackDown titles and they were drafted with the titles to Raw. So either Profits are going to SmackDown or they're unifying the titles. I think they're going the Street
Profits.
Guys,
try to stay with the super chats. Guys, try to stay in unison with where we're at in the show. I know it's taking a while to get through it, but try your best to do it because now I don't even want to read the rest of this because you just tipped off.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Because these disappear after a while, so I want to make sure.
I know that's why I'm telling them to please listen.
And Superstar Bobby Burns, your old buddy, saying, glad to see Dom on SmackDown. I remember when I did my first Shooting Star press on the crash pad. Dad said I was a 6 foot tall Rey Mysterio and made my year. Bobby out. 6 foot tall Rey Mysterio, that is high praise.
It is. But this guy couldn't wrestle his wiener out of his pants, let alone actually wrestle in a wrestling ring. So, again, you know, your roll know it, your mouth, shut it. All right. Let's move on here. Basically, where do we leave off? Basically, Roman, in my opinion, cut a really good promo here. Talking more mess about being called a tribal chief. Basically calls him out for an I Quit match at Hell in a Cell. But the part I like best about this was his, at the very end of the promo, if you watch Roman's face, he was talking very slow, very methodically. And then he really turned it up, if you notice, without raising his pitch even, or yelling, or acting like all crazy. He just literally made the smallest subtlety. He was talking about basically he's going to kill him after after he quits. After Jay says, I quit, then he's going to turn it up on him. And like he made like this, he was like clenching his jaws as he was saying it. It was such a small subtlety, but I believed every word he said. Again,
Roman is so good in this role, and Jay is as well. Like, I felt scared for Jay. Like,
yes,
don't do it. He's gonna beat the piss out of you, and you're gonna quit.
Yes,
dude, I don't want you to be beaten that badly. So, I mean, Roman is so great in this role. I think
Walt telling him he loves him. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help you out in life, man. Why can't you just, it's so goddamn relatable, and he makes such a jerk. He's such a good heel here.
And it's unlike any storyline I can recall in wrestling. Where
100%.
After he already killed a guy, he's still telling him he loves him. He still is telling him, don't take the match. I love the storyline, even though we know sometimes predictable is fine if the characters and the storyline are there and it's right.
Yes.
And I think
100%. He's crushing it. I'm sorry. He's the most intriguing act right now for me.
Yeah.
And I'll say all of wrestling right now.
And Brett Murphy is taking your advice. Great promo by Roman. See, I followed the match, man.
Thank you, Brett. Real quick, let me bang this out really quick. Back from the break, Stephanie is now on the stage. She announces the New Day versus SmackDown Tag Champs Cesaro and Nakamura for tonight, as you heard tipped off earlier by our favorite man, Justin Lopez. She then announces that Raw will be selecting AJ Styles to come over from SmackDown. I'm loving that. SmackDown then selects Sasha Banks to stay. Again, it's not a selection. Raw then picks Naomi to come from SmackDown. SmackDown then selects Bianca Belair to come over from Raw. That's going to be big. The final pick of the second round sees Raw select WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax to stay on the brand.
It would be hilarious if they just all selected the people to stay on their brand.
Not one person was new. That would be pretty freaking funny.
Everyone's just selected. Everyone's staying there.
So let me ask. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the dumbest thing in this draft, in my opinion, is that Retribution. Why would anyone draft Retribution when their whole goal is to bring the company down?
Because it's phony and it kills it. Remind me to bring this up at the end of the show when we get to Bray Wyatt stuff.
Sure. We got Brandon Hall, real quick, saying this is long overdue with Roman. They've been holding him back. He shows he's killing it. He is the top guy in the business right now, in my opinion. AEW, WWE.
You cannot argue against this. I'm sorry. I know we got Roman haters out there, guys. You've got to give him his due. You got to give the WWE their due on this as well. This is a grand slam every time he's been on TV. I'm yet to see any holes in this.
Yeah. Him and Jericho, always.
Jericho's always a home run out for sure. But this is my favorite character right now, honestly.
Yeah, same.
As far as most intriguing. We move on. AJ Styles checks in with a video from home. He said he feels offended that he wasn't the number one overall pick, but he's relieved. He doesn't deserve to be around cheats like Jeff Hardy and that neck beard. WWE Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn. Huge spot for that. AJ goes on and says he's headed to Raw and that it's about to get phenomenal. Real quick, that wasn't a Twitch video he did, right? With that?
Yeah.
Was it? Okay. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to make sure. So I'm excited for that for AJ. It'll be good. He'll be a great addition to Raw. Jeff Hardy. Up next is Jeff Hardy and Matt Riddle versus John Morrison and The Miz. This was a really good match, actually. Basically, they go on in the beginning. The baby faces go through their shine of the match, if you will, and then eventually the heels take over. But when they go to commercial break. And when they come back for commercial break, Hardy gets double teamed. Morrison controls Hardy now. Morrison blocks a twist of fate, but they both go down as the fans rally in a double down, as it were. Riddle and Miz get the tag and unload on each other. Riddle gets the upper hand and hits some of his signature stuff. Riddle with a Broton and a German suplex, but Morrison breaks it up. Hardy with the twist of fate to stop Morrison. Miz sends Hardy to the floor. Riddle hits a big knee to Miz. Riddle follows it up with the Bro Derek to Miz. That's a funny name. For the fairly quick win in the middle of the ring. I mean, it wasn't that. I mean, yeah, it was quick, but it wasn't that quick because they did have a commercial break in there. Winners are Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy. What do you think?
So clearly, I think this was meant to send a little message that Matt Riddle's okay. There was that $40 million lawsuit, $10 million each against WWE, Matt Riddle, Evolve, and Gabe Sapolsky that was filed yesterday. And
for what? Do we know?
So here, let me. I don't want to miss any of the facts, but.
You want to just come back to it after the show? Let's just come back to it after we're done.
Okay, but yeah, they were all the lawsuit was filed yesterday. WWE sent us a statement that they hadn't received, and this was yesterday, that they hadn't been served yet. But yeah, we'll talk more about it after we run through SmackDown.
Yeah. All right, my bad. After the match, this is the best, in my opinion, the best part. After the match, the music is interrupted, and out comes Lars Sullivan making this big triumphant return. Sullivan hits the ring and absolutely destroys Riddle and then Hardy. Lars continues to deliver big power moves to both superstars. I thought they were very generic, but nonetheless, he got over. Morrison tries to pull Miz to safety, but Lars grabs him and unloads with big forearms. Lars goes on and drops Miz with his freak accident. The music starts back up, and Lars stands tall, yelling out at the not live crowd. We go to replays, back to commercial as Lars is still in the ring, standing tall. What do you think? That was a pretty cool reintroduction to him.
I think
Basic.
they're plugging Lars right back into where he was last year, and this kind of like a Brock Lesnar esque heel, and
they must believe in him because they let him be gone for as long as he's been gone, and not making money on him.
Yeah, he's been gone for over a year. He got injured in, I believe it was April last year. It might have been May. I'm pretty sure it was April. But when he attacked the Hardys, and he's coming back. I always thought in NXT that Lars is one of those guys I could see headlining a pay-per-view. That he's got the look, he's got the size, he's different. More than a Johnny Gargano. There's no way I see Johnny Gargano headlining a WWE pay-per-view, even though he can work and whatever.
Well, yeah, two different extremes, but yeah.
But as far as who is going to headline, when people talk about who should make it on the main roster, and who Vince likes, Lars is that guy.
For sure.
He did have some stuff come up and come out during that time, but man, he's got the look.
He's got the superstar. Yeah, we get it.
And he's different.
I think everybody sees that. What I was saying though, it's very rare. I don't care who you are, even Brock for that matter, for them to give you an entire year not to make money off of you unless you've already proven yourself.
Right.
All right, which he did not do. It says a lot about what his potential must be. For them to do that, I mean, good Lord, I thought he was gone. I really did. I thought he's been gone. But
a lot of people saw that. It wasn't like they're making him start from the bottom now and work his way up. They're putting him back to where he was.
Well, because you can't, like Jim Ross, you say this about me. You can't book me as a mid-card or lower card act because of my size. It doesn't look right. The aesthetic presentation of my character, it looks weird. If I'm sitting there, losing to Sho Funaki or something like that. Yeah, Schoolboy will roll up here or there, that's fine. But being booked consistently that way, like he literally told me that once. It was right when I was being released by WWE. And I had a private conversation with him after I was released. And I never thought about it from that angle. He's the same way. You can't book him at the beginning of the card. You can right now because he's new, and you're going to crescendo and build him to be this monster that like Brock was at one point too when he got started. But we know where they're going. He'll be a headline act.
Right. I mean, it goes to, and it's not just wrestling. Thanos is not a small guy, right? Like when you have the non-diabolical villains, the Joker can be a smaller guy because he's more methodical. But when you're doing the physical villain, they're always bigger guys. They're always the guys that look like they could beat the hero's ass. And that's just how it's always been. Don't Tread on Me saying, I just wish we could go back to the days when they had good storylines like The Undertaker and Kane, The Brood. I don't know about The Brood. You name it. The Attitude Era was so great. I love The Brood's entrance. I don't think they were ever in a great storyline.
Yeah. He may be Fanger. Who knows?
Ryan Berry saying, I can see Reigns killing off Jay's character for a while after Hell in a Cell.
That could happen. That very well could happen.
Yeah, actually, that makes sense. Keep Jay off TV until the Usos can return together. We need at least one pop. He means pop culture reference. Maybe He-Man, something.
I get what he's saying.
Yeah. He's missing Glenn. Nightmare Knee saying, I'm so happy Lars is back. Big fan. And Don't Tread on Me is saying, Roman and Jey Uso storyline is about the best thing going on SmackDown. I'd say it's one of the best things going on in all of wrestling.
In wrestling. Yeah. No doubt. All right, picking this back.
AEW, real quick, I asked people in the chat, what is better than the Roman Jey storyline in AEW, which I'm a big fan of their show, but...
Stop trolling them, Raj. You're trolling them.
Except for Jericho and MJF. That's been pretty great.
You're trolling them. Like, because why do we always have to compare, though? Like,
well, it's just in all of wrestling, Because there's nothing in WWE that's close to Roman and Jay. So the only thing close is AEW. So
yes, but I'm just saying in general, fans should be happy. We got a really great storyline with super amounts of meat on the bones to it, and it's original as hell. I've never, like you said, we've never seen anything like this so far. It's been amazing, and Roman, most importantly, has been killing it every time he gets a chance to talk.
yeah.
His performance.
Hold on, yeah. Surfing saying if Glenn was here, we would still be on the first match. Oh, well. Yeah,
Yes.
We're almost done with the show.
No, we're not.
Yeah,
But we are back from break. And Stephanie's on the stage for more draft picks, folks. She says Lars Sullivan will be added to Monday's draft pool. Ooh, the draft pool. So we still don't know if that means he'll be drafted or not to that show. But I'm sure he will. Anyways, she announces that Ricochet, wait for it, staying on Raw. Ooh, we're so excited, Stephanie. SmackDown picks, wait for it, Jey Uso to stay on the brand. Yay. I was so worried.
Could you imagine if the NFL draft, half the draft pick is like the Dak Prescott is staying with the Cowboys?
Dallas Cowboys. Yeah.
I mean,
Bro, like, it gets so much better, dude.
These writers have never watched a draft.
No, they haven't. But listen to me. SmackDown picks Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. Okay,
shit,
so that's different, right?
No, but Seth is on there too, and I'm guessing Murphy. Oh my! It's just moving shows.
I was worried about. I didn't like that part. All right,
I missed that part.
I do like this though. I like this part a lot. Raw then picks Miz and Morrison. I think if they go and start doing their dirt sheet again, that could be a great addition to that boring ass long 3-hour show. My 2 cents though. Really quick, we get a segment with the Mysterios backstage celebrating how they're staying together. So it sounds like Seth Rollins isn't free of them just yet. Do we have another super chat?
Real quick, why are they celebrating that they're staying together? They were a duo. They couldn't have been split together in the draft.
Well, sure, they're father and son. They're not a tag team.
No, in the draft.
Do you consider them that?
Yeah, in the draft list, they were considered a tag team. Like they were together.
Were they? Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, then that's lame. I don't know.
Granted, this is all fly by the seat of their pants, but what you gonna do? Tina Miller is not a fan that Kenny Omega's acting. At the $2. I mean, paying money to call out Kenny Omega's acting. At the $2 super chat.
Thank you, Tina Miller. I appreciate it.
I agree with you. Nightmare Knee with the $5 super chat saying, "I'm loving Roman and Jay right now. I'm excited to see how all the pieces come together."
Yes, sir. Yeah. Dude, this can go so many great directions, and just it could take such a large amount of time to get through, which that's exciting.
Dude, if they were able to get The Rock, because he is related, and you have Roman go through Jay again, then both of the Usos, and then when he's standing tall at the Royal Rumble saying, all family members must call me the tribal chief or whatever, like He-Man and the castle.
Have all the ones, have Kishi come, have all them come, and they've all got to give him praise.
And then The Rock's music hits.
Yeah,
that'd be dope. I don't think it's going to happen because there's just too much money.
I do think in the end game here, it will be Roman versus Rock, though. I do.
I just think there's so much money in The Rock's movies that
of course there is.
The movie insurance costs so much that's why he hasn't wrestled again since his
It definitely does. But again, The Rock is different than normal Hollywood actors. He gets to call his own shots. He gets to write his own story, literally, right? So because of that, I could be wrong. I still go back to when he raised Roman Reigns, his blood relative's hand in Philly, I believe it was, and he got booed out of the building for it. You could tell Rock didn't like it, and probably felt not that he should be responsible for that. He just didn't know that Roman was being booed heavily in the face yet.
Storyline, yeah.
But like I could see him in real life, though, saying this is my blood, this is my family, because they were on the same set together. If you don't think that they lifted together and bonded together again and stuff like that, you're nuts. I guarantee they did. And there's more emotional investment for Rock to want to do this, in my opinion, for wanting to help out, Roman. I really do.
I do think that's realistically of any match you can make. If you could bring Rock back for any match, that's the biggest. So
it'd be amazing. Go ahead. Sorry, who we have next?
Jackson Collins, our good friend of the show, saying, "Matt, you're my boy. You're doing great for real. But now you know why the train derails. LOL."
Sure. Yeah, because Raj keeps cutting me off and letting me finish these damn matches, so he can collect all of your money.
We got to address it. We got to address the fans.
No, yes, we do, of course. My apologies, but not really.
Michael the Virus is claiming we're stealing his Rock Reigns match story. I think a lot of people have had that story in line.
Michael, come on, brother. There's no offense. Where you're not coming up with the original NWO storyline here that nobody sees coming. This
Right.
is like our Hulk Hogan turning heel. This is his relative. Come on.
Like WWE stole my storyline of Roman beating Jay in the Hell in a Cell.
But Mike, I see Mike all the time on Twitter. He's a good fan of the
He's
show.
awesome.
He's a good
He's
dude.
just jealous that I'm a better Uno player than him, but we'll move on.
Hey, let me move on here really quick. SmackDown Women's Title match: Sasha Banks versus Bayley. This was cool. Real quick, the bell rings and here we go. Banks unloads on Bayley in the corner and just beating her down. Great intensity here by Banks, by the way. Bayley catches Banks for a side slam later on in the match, but she turns that into a 2 count. She kicks out. Bayley clotheslines Banks to shut her back down. Bayley whips Banks to the corner, but she counters and ends up on Bayley's shoulders. Banks turns that into a takedown for a quick pin attempt. Banks with another Banks statement. That was badass. Bayley gets her foot on the bottom of the rope, though, to break the hold. Bayley rolls to the floor for a breather, but Banks stays on her. Bayley rocks Banks with a huge forearm. Bayley suddenly grabs a steel chair and hits Banks with it for the disqualification. So Sasha Banks is your winner by DQ, but Bayley is still your women's champion. Listen, after the match, Banks is still pissed off. She ends up sending Bayley face first into the chair in the corner. Banks folds the chair up and smacks Bayley across the back several times now. Banks goes to use the chair to break Bayley's neck, but she comes off the top and Bayley moves out of the way. Retreating to the floor as officials rush over to break him all up and check on her. Banks looks on from the apron as Bayley clutches her title on the floor. They basically yell at each other. That's a very important part, Mark Middleton. Thanks for writing that part. So basically, this was a really good match, but I was not in fear that Bayley was going to be losing the title tonight.
I hated this for a lot of reasons.
Do you think because they gave it away, right?
Yes,
on free TV.
It's the biggest women's match that they've had in forever. It's a possible WrestleMania match. With the right build, it
could have been.
Yeah, like
should have been.
If they're like Roman versus The Rock, it's taking place on Raw next week, and then even though it's building to another match, it just shows what WWE thinks of Bayley and Sasha. I think they don't see it as that big of a match, even though it's had a great build. They've done the best job of all the women on both rosters.
No question.
This should be a special match that's not just on a random episode. Granted, they want a big rating tonight, but it's bigger than that. It should not be wasted here. I don't think they should do it at Hell in a Cell. I think the first match should be at WrestleMania. So already we're past that. I know they're going to do a rematch at Hell in a Cell. I just think this match is bigger than that.
It absolutely is. We see recent happenings between Bray Wyatt and Kevin Owens on some video footage. Now, Owens is backstage preparing for tonight's match, and Alexa Bliss walks up to him all spookily and says, "Let him in." And they go right back to commercial again. That's a good cliffhanger, I thought. Up next is our SmackDown Tag Team title match, The New Day versus Cesaro and Nakamura. Real quick, we talked about this earlier on, so I don't want to put you guys through it again. But a real quick ending of this match was Kofi nails Trouble in Paradise to Cesaro. Nakamura drops Kofi for a close 2 count. Kofi counters a reverse exploder. Woods tags in as Kofi drops Nakamura with another Trouble in Paradise. Woods goes to the top and hits the big flying elbow on Nakamura for the pin and the win. And your brand new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, The New Day, folks. The New Day. After the match, Kofi and Woods stand tall with the titles as fans cheer them. Big E runs down with them to celebrate. I did not like that part. Before we talk about it really quick, we go to Stephanie, who's on stage for more draft picks. And the reason I want to say that is because Raw selects, guess who, guys? The new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, to come from the Blue Brand over to Monday Night Raw. The New Day points to how Big E was not included. Stephanie then announces that Big E has been picked by SmackDown. The New Day is bummed out in the ring. Raw selects Dana Brooke to stay on the roster. SmackDown then selects Otis to stay on the brand. Raw picks Angel Garza to stay on the brand. So a lot to real quick unpack right there with New Day. We talked about it earlier. Obviously, this is what needs to be done. It's officially. We saw the reactions of them having to split up now. I am more than okay with this. Big E is a headline act, in my opinion, and this will help them get there. Get them the hell away from me.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's about time, and this was a good way to do it if you're not going to have him turning on them or them turning on him.
Still wish that happened, but yeah.
I think so. I think Big E, he
be a great heel.
A great heel run and then turn babyface and be that much bigger. We see that's always worked in the past.
Think because of Roman being the heel on SmackDown and being the headline act as a heel, maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But you could have turned him heel and put him on Raw.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But still, I mean, it was good. Again, all these picks where they're staying.
Feels like
Dana Brooke, why the fuck didn't they just wait a week to have her move as opposed to doing it last week with no storyline, no reason? She's just in a tag match.
I agree. I 100%.
I just don't.
Do you have any super chats? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Here we go. Zach Paxton with the $4.99 super chat saying Rollins on SmackDown as a face versus heel Roman for a pair of matches. Would that work for Rollins with this heel Roman?
Wait, what's wrong with that? I wouldn't mind that.
I think it'd be good. I just think the fans.
He's got to drop the Messiah stuff. As long as we're talking, he's no more Messiah crap. I'd be flat because his moves are babyface. He has a babyface moveset.
Oh, I think if he turned babyface, yes, absolutely. I think him and as a heel, I can't remember the last time WWE did a good top-rate heel versus heel program where. No, I don't want that. Yeah. Yeah. So you would have to turn Seth babyface.
Yeah.
Stephen Marchichuli saying, "How about booking Cross to win the Royal Rumble?" Nikki
Royal
Cross?
Rumble. No. I'm hoping he does not. No, he's talking about Killer Cross. Because then he says Bianca wins the women's Royal Rumble and faces Asuka.
He's misspelled Cross. With that, that's Nikki Cross.
I could be wrong. Maybe that's what he means because you can't have two winners from the women's Royal Rumble, right?
Okay, yeah. Bianca winning the women's Royal Rumble faces Asuka.
Hell yeah. I'll take that.
But okay, Nikki, Killer Cross winning the Royal Rumble. Okay, I think it's too soon for him. I think he still needs a little seasoning, but. To be in the main event of a WrestleMania, but I think he can get there. Nate Erickson saying Retribution go undrafted and show up where they want is more realistic. That and add the alley hacker layer and the intrigue and may outweigh the corny.
Yes, of course it does. They should not be getting drafted, right?
They're specific to Raw, which is already dumb to begin with, right?
It is.
If they're renegades, they should show up anywhere. They should be on NXT. They should be on SmackDown. Saying. But they're Raw only renegades. And they got signed to contracts.
I hate that so much. I hate that part. I do.
It's just the worst storytelling.
You have any more?
That's it for now.
All right. So like I said, your new SmackDown champs are obviously New Day. Give me 1 second here. All right, we get a backstage segment with Heavy Machinery. I was so excited, you guys. I was so captivated. All right, just so captivated here as Otis mentions how he was drafted and Tucker wasn't. But Tucker wants to focus on The Miz and Morrison for now. A woman comes in, serves Otis with a paper that says the lawyer for Miz and Morrison has filed for a continuance to the courtroom segment that was planned for tonight. Tucker and Otis are not happy. We go backstage, to Sasha Banks. She cuts a really good promo, ripping on Bayley and challenges her to a Hell in a Cell match at, you guessed it, WWE's Hell in a Cell. Banks says she will break Bayley. She used to love and used to be friends with Bayley, but at Hell in a Cell, she will take the only thing Bayley loves, that SmackDown Women's title. I like this promo. I thought this was fire, actually.
Sasha's one of the best.
I felt what she was saying tonight. That was good. Real quick, The Fiend versus Kevin Owens. Now, we go back to the ring for tonight's main event, and out first comes The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Now, this is the Fiend's first Friday night match. And I'll just be honest, I did not like him coming out first, number one. I did not like that they did like an in commercial break, if you will, where they showed like the entire arena while his music was playing. Scary music they were supposed to be scared by, keep in mind. And we're supposed to be terrified of this guy. And he's just hanging out in the corner of the ring waiting for his opponent while they do their stupid advertisements, shooting that out shot, if you will, of the entire arena where it shows all the fans and their, screens and stuff. And I thought that's not who you do that with. You do that with every other wrestler. You don't do it with someone like him, who's supposed to have like these mystical powers and whatnot. He's supposed to be a huge deal. And you chumped him, in my opinion, by doing this, by making him feel like any other wrestler, Raj. It did. It made him feel like any other wrestler to me. But anyways, so they go back, they come back from commercial break, and this is the part I'm talking about. If fans want to go back and watch it, they did another couple plugs here. I thought it was lame. While he's sitting there like a douche, waiting for his opponent to come out, dude. That doesn't make sense. He ain't waiting for people. He should be coming out second. He's the bigger star. No offense to Kevin Owens, but anyways. They definitely made another plug in there about Braun Strowman versus Universal Champion Roman Reigns on the season premiere of SmackDown this upcoming Friday. Again, don't be doing this during his matches, but whatever. Look, this started out awesome, I thought, with Kevin Owens immediately attacking him, hitting his running senton in the corner, and Fiend just completely just no-sells all of it and does that Austin-esque gimmick where he pulls himself up by the ropes and just is just like and just whipped his living butt the entire match. This was a really good showcase match for the Fiend, obviously. But listen, it ends with Fiend ducking a shot from Owens and slams Owens on the announce table with his Uranagi. Fiend then plants Owens face first into the table with Sister Abigail. That was awesome. The referee counts, and Fiend laughs as we go back to commercial again. So, guys, right there, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, I don't like, come on, Matt, we got to go to commercial breaks. It's the main event. You want to have a cliffhanger to send people out on commercial break to come back to the show on. I get all that. I just think when you're booking the Fiend, you've got to be 1,000 times more careful with how you book him. So, I don't know. It is what it is. It's what WWE is doing. So anyways, they do come back from break. Again, it's just the Fiend goes for the mandible claw, but Kevin Owens resists. Owens delivers a stunner, but the claw was still in his mouth. This was so good. Fiend slams Owens with another Uranagi while the mandible was still applied. That was dope. Fiend holds Owens down with the claw for the pin and the win. Your winner, the Fiend. Now, real quick, Raj, after this match, the music hits, all the red lights are now covering the arena again as the Fiend stands tall. Now the everything just gets completely black, right? The red lights come back up, and the Fiend is standing on the stage now, staring face to face with Miss Alexa Bliss. The menacing sounds fill the arena, and they both just look to the ring at Kevin Owens at the same time, slowly and methodically, as Kevin Owens just looks absolutely just battered. And Fiend and Bliss turn back to each other slowly, staring at each other and continue their stare down. The Fiend then growls as his image flashes over the screen and they go out. Now, I thought they should have ended the show right there. That should have been their fade to black, but of course not, because WWE's got to get another plug in with Corey and Cole having a hype next week SmackDown season 2 premiere as this episode is finally wrapped up. Again, I would not have done that. It was a serious moment. I think I was feeling it. I like that stuff with Alexa. I know you don't. I do, though.
I think the Alexa stuff. I think, and I think Alexa is great as a heel. Like she has done some great stuff in the past, but the stuff with the Fiend just feels like high school drama class. Like the acting, I just think is so bad. I just find it corny. I can't get into it because I find it too hilarious how bad it is.
Don't you like those horror movies and stuff where like these people's minds and bodies get taken over like this? No,
right?
No?
Like Cabin Fever and stuff.
Yeah.
But this isn't supposed to be that. But I don't know. This is
I
one
like
storyline. This has been the worst thing on SmackDown, other than
really
Cesaro and Nakamura facing the Lucha House Party every week, and they're destroying them every week. And
that
they
by
keep doing it.
far is the worst. By
That
the
is
way,
the worst.
but go ahead. You have a super chat. I'm guessing. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'll get to these
No.
in just a second.
Okay.
What did you think?
Of the match,
No,
match,
the
the ending.
storyline with Wyatt and Alexa
Why?
after.
Okay. Why I like it is because I like when they go back and they play details of the characters' past layers or even current layers to their personas that they have, right? Sister Abigail is a big part of this guy's past, his Bray Wyatt character's past, and I dig this because of that. I mean, I could see why you don't like it because Alexa, because he's not saying because Alexa sucks. He's saying it because Alexa's too big of a star who has her own shtick, her own gimmick, and as a heel, she is fire. As a heel, just left to her own devices, not in some stupid tag team with Nikki Cross, but by herself. She's an amazing women's multi-time champion. But I do like it though, because I do think she can pull this off, and I'm praying she pulls this off because I think this is a needed layer for this next part of his chapter of his story he's telling us.
I just think the acting has to be right for things like this. Like, could you imagine?
It does. You're right.
You watch The Boys, right?
But she's not saying anything. She's just staring at him. I mean, like, so there. By the way, I'll get back to you. The Boys actually is downloaded as we speak. I asked my wife to make sure when I come back in after this, we start to watch it.
Okay. Here's my thing. Imagine the Miz cast as Homelander. Watch The Boys, and then you'll know what I mean. Like, the casting means a lot.
It does.
Alexa Bliss to me doesn't fit this part. I think she was great as a heel when she was the bully in the Nia Jax feud. She was awesome in that. It fit her personality. With this, I just find it too corny.
But she's not talking really too much. She's just.
But just the googly eyes and everything. I'm not. Are you buying it? Are you like?
I think it's
are you
because I
suspending your
want
disbelief enough to be like, oh my God, maybe she is falling for Bray and
so maybe it's the inner mark in me, because sometimes when I want something to work, I give it, an unfair grade that if I didn't like it, I would tear it apart.
Yeah.
Like Kenny Omega. No offense, I like Kenny Omega, but I'm always saying how terrible his acting is.
Oh, it's terrible,
and it's hard to watch. I mean,
but like Roman and Jay, we know they're close as hell in real life, but in that storyline, you're able to suspend your disbelief because they're doing such a good job, because you really buy it. You know what I mean? And
so she's not talking though, so she's not lost me because of it. She starts talking all crazy, and it doesn't look realistic, and I don't feel it. I'll promise. I'll call it out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I want to see this next layer of his character. I really do, because do we know if he came up with this or WWE did? Do we know?
He came up with it. Yeah.
Then that's another reason. We got to give it a chance.
And they've been slowly, not killing it. He's still one of the top acts, but where he was a year ago, when he wrestled the Fiend at SummerSlam, watching that entrance, no red tint when he wrestled, it was so badass.
Okay. So they screwed the pooch. If you'll remember, go back in time and watch this podcast, folks, and watch this show. I said it. He does not need a championship title. Do not put the championship on this guy. He doesn't need it. And they did. And then they opened up Pandora's box that I predicted would happen. And that is the fact that he's going to eventually have to lose it. And then they're going to start booking him to care about a title. And my argument was he would never care about a title. He would never care about a championship. He's a monster.
Right.
He's not there for that. He's there to do other monstery types of things.
Right.
He's not there.
Just kidnapping and killing. And
yeah, he's not coming back through the curtain giving people fist bumps and saying, top that. Like, he's not going there to talk about work rate and championships.
Yeah,
he's
top
there to
that match.
Yeah, right? He's there to eat. He's like to eat people's heads off their necks. Like, he's a monster. I want to see him be a monster. I don't know. But we'll see.
We got a couple more super chats here. Jody Shauna Jenkins saying, Raj, is there any truth to the rumor that Retribution Slapjack is the son of Jeff Jarrett and has a brother named Slapnuts? That's just ridiculous. They're cousins. We know that. Sorry, I missed it. Nightmare Knee saying, do you think Lars will be set up for Roman? I mean, that's the case for any top heel, right? Eventually, they're going to lose to the top babyface.
Yes, usually. But also, he's in the Raw draft pool, whatever that means. They can be drafted to Raw, maybe? Is that what that means?
Yeah. All right, you ready for this?
No, don't read it if we.
it's a it's a super chat. I gotta read it.
No, you don't. Bliss has been great. Morgan hosting. Oh, this guy. Why do you put this dork over? Seriously, this guy is a tool. Get him off.
All right. Eternal Code. Him and Seth lose it to Goldberg. Matt is 100. So there you go.
This guy, not a dork. No, I'm just joking. I'm just completely messing with Bobby, whatever his last. What's Bobby's last name again?
Bobby Burns.
I'm just messing with you, Bobby Burns. I do not think you're a dork.
Okay, we got another super chat here. Happy birthday to the late great Eddie Guerrero. Today would have been I believe, his 53rd birthday, if I'm not mistaken. Imagine just how much more legendary his career would have been had he still been with us. Matt, got any good Eddie stories?
Really quick, absolutely. I was still addicted to my painkillers as a functioning addict at the time, and only like a couple of the guys on that roster would know it because I would ask them for pills if I ever ran out. And Eddie, I remember on a car ride, one loop is my first time riding in a car with him. He was all about. He asked me. I don't want to get all biblical here and everything, but I grew up personally, it's my own personal beliefs, believing in Christ. As I got older and got to college, I kind of stepped away from that, and it felt like I was patronizing the guy by going to church and not paying attention and things like that. Long story short, I kind of went away from the Lord a little bit, and through college years and then through my early years with wrestling even. And Eddie was one of the ones that got me back on track with that. And on just one car ride, going through the Bible together, and because he's Eddie Guerrero, I'm not going to tell him, man, dude, I don't want to talk about that stuff, go away or something like that. It's Eddie Guerrero. So out of respect, I was just listening to him, and then it was one of the most influential car rides I've ever had, because that was the beginning of me letting Christ back into my life. It would have turned out helped save my life, because then a few steps later I put myself through rehab, and I put a lot of that on my own religion, not trying to be, pushing this on anybody else, just my own personal opinion. It helped me a lot in my own recovery with my own addiction. And that was the first part of that process of bringing Christ back into my life, was that car ride with Eddie.
Neo Akira with the $5 super chat saying, Fiend and Bliss still a better love story than Twilight. Best wrestling love story, what do you think? I think it's got to be Macho Man and Liz, right?
Oh, by far.
Nothing's close.
No, I'm sorry. Uncle Elmer and what was her name?
Aunt
Jenny
Sapphire? Or something?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I forget.
I don't
remember. Nate Erickson saying, 2 questions for you both. Your favorite mid-90s WWF worker gimmick and your favorite gimmick of all time.
What do you mean by worker gimmick? You say like I have to pick like a construction guy? Or do you mean
maybe
by
just worker? Maybe
right?
just your favorite mid-90s.
Sure. I'll be honest, mid-90s, I couldn't even tell you if somebody was a good worker, because I was still looking for the cartoonish wrestler still and being excited by their characters, admittedly so, even though the times were changing.
So answer both. In mid-90s, who was the best wrestler and who was the best gimmick?
Okay, so Undertaker for gimmick. Come on, it's Undertaker. Worker, though, I recall thinking, I've got to put, Dean Malenko or even, we're talking worker and work rate specifically here. So, yeah. Eddie, was Eddie with WCW in 95?
It might have been 96, but it's close. It's close enough. He was in ECW.
I would put one of them in there, a Malenko, a Guerrero, a Jericho even, who was also entertaining on top of it at the time with WCW. Benoit. All of them, actually. The ones end up leaving and going to WWE, the whole group, the whole stable.
Right.
Sans Perry Saturn.
Yeah. I agree with you, Undertaker. I'd say Brett for worker, just because Brett, to me, always seemed believable. Like, the matches looked real. Whereas Dean and everyone else, it just seemed choreographed to an extent. Like, they practiced these spots. Where Brett didn't have it didn't have that practice feel. You know what I mean?
Go back, and I know fans don't give him a lot of opportunity. I wish they would. Watch more Dean Malenko stuff, though. He does such amazing chain wrestling and mat wrestling and reversing out of things versus the high spot stuff that we see a lot of the others do. But
yeah. Oh, and by no means am I not saying that Dean Malenko is great. I'm just saying why I was such a Bret Hart fan as far as that went. Stephen Marchichuli saying Matt one match with Prime Austin or Prime Goldberg.
Whew,
Goldberg would kill you. I mean,
that.
A guy your size, if he's getting you up in the jackhammer, that's an ugly scene.
You do know it's not real, right?
No, but him slipping and
Me getting
accidentally
hurt?
dropping you on your head. I'm not saying he'd kill you in real life. I'm saying he'd kill you in real life, not in a storyline.
And now you're making me scared. No, I think Austin. Austin for the abilities, okay, just for the opportunities for the promos on top of it and the build up to the storyline. I'm sure would be great because he's in it, right? That'd be awesome. But Goldberg, that's another one of my favorite wrestlers too at the time too. So I don't know. Austin
and Goldberg, man, that was the one match. They missed each other by a month. Austin's last match was at that WrestleMania. A month later, Goldberg came into WWF and wrestled The Rock. That dream match.
Now let me ask you this: do you remember when he came in and wrestled and went in the ring and did a promo with Rock that night when he first got there to WWE?
Oh yeah. Rock made him look like a geek.
He did. I still feel though it was a little late.
Yeah.
Like I still feel like we missed that. I don't know. It didn't feel like I thought it would feel. Finally getting Goldberg to WWE and wrestling one of their top talents. Like I had in my head when WCW was still around and Goldberg and Nash and all them were still on top of WCW, what these dream matches could be.
Right.
Sorry.
Tim Mickle saying that's why he said Prime, Raj. Okay, granted. Yeah, Prime Goldberg would not have dropped you on your head.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
We mentioned the lawsuit earlier. So this past week, Kenny Cartwright filed a lawsuit against Matt Riddle, WWE, and former Evolve owner Gabe Sapolsky and Evolve. $10 million apiece over actual damages from emotional distress, punitive damages, attorney's fees, and costs. Same stuff as before. You could read the whole story at Wrestling Inc. That Riddle sexually assaulted her. And yeah, so they've each been served with a lawsuit. WWE has sent us a statement last night saying they had not been served yet. So I don't know, as we're recording this, if they have, we will reach back out to WWE. But yeah, we will see. But clearly, with how Matt Riddle got the win tonight, they are moving forward like they believe him.
Yeah, and again, we have no clue for sure on what their situation is with that because that's up to them to bring up publicly or not, as an organization or Matt or this other party that you just said as well. But damn, that is a lot of money. 10 million, 4 different people. You said?
Yeah, 40 million.
So that's Evolve, Gabe, WWE.
Which WWE owns Evolve now. Yeah, Gabe, Evolve, Matt Riddle, and WWE.
And Matt Riddle, okay. God, man, I'm so out of the damn flow here. I don't know any of these damn stories. I'm like, wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah, you got to check out WrestlingInc.com. You'll
I do.
Cut up. I know you're a busy man.
But what'd you think of the show overall?
The Roman stuff is great. I'm not a big fan of Alexa, but the draft stuff, I don't know. I'm glad.
There's some moving parts that happened, right?
They mixed the talents up because, we saw Apollo Crews and Friends versus Bobby Lashley and Friends for the last 5 months. Street Profits versus Garza and Andrade for the last 6 months. But now we're going to get fresh matchups for a couple weeks, and then it's going to be the same matchups for the next 5 months. So
yes, it will. There's going to be a brand new. Wait, where's Ricochet going to? He's staying on Raw.
Yeah, Ricochet's staying on Raw, right? I thought they said that.
Yes, so that's going to continue to happen. The Hurt Business will keep beating them up.
That'll Apollo Crews, they haven't decided yet, so maybe Apollo Crews moves. But the problem is WWE, they don't know how to do a feud anymore without the guys just wrestling each other every week. As opposed to, Jake the Snake Roberts versus Rick Martel. You remember that? With the arrogance and the eyes. And
yep.
They never wrestled each other on TV, but they kept that storyline going. And as corny as some of it might sound now, it
led to a blindfold match, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes, that's
awesome.
It's one of the more memorable. It was a shitty match, but everyone remembers it because
the build to it was really the build to it was really good. Yeah. It was.
All right, Matt. I'll let you finish it off, man. You've done a great job tonight.
All right, real quick, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all of our super chatters. Those of you that just continue to not pay money and continue to chat nonetheless amongst each other, we appreciate all of you. Seriously, you can always reach out to me on Twitter, Raj on Twitter, Glenn on Twitter, as well as Justin Labar. You guys know our handles, obviously. It says it on our damn fat faces here. But listen, more importantly, you guys are part of the show. And I bust balls, especially like a Bobby Burns and something like that. It's because it's fun. When there's parts of this show that I feel are boring, my job is to turn up the heat and be heel Morgan because it's fun. I enjoy it, and I know I get a lot of feedback from our fans that like it too. So hopefully you take it all in fun. But again, we're going to be coming back here, Raj, I want to say Monday?
Monday, yeah.
Monday Night Raw will be myself. Raj definitely will not be there.
I'll be there this Monday. Glenn's a maybe.
So we're hoping our very good friend Glenn heals up, right? Feels better. And will join us back here on Monday for our Wrestling post-show podcast for Monday Night Raw. Till then, I'm Matt Morgan. This is the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Raj Giri. And we say good night.